Hello, hello. My name is Nicholas Rivas, and I do videos on politics and stuff. And today we're going to be talking about flat earthers. I'm going to be recording and doing videos every other day. I've been kind of gone due to my schooling and working full time. It's pretty hard to find time to do these videos, but with summer coming in, I'm getting a little bit more of a break. So my goal is to post more. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about flat earthers, and the game today we're playing is Cold War. So had a fun time. I haven't played games in a while as well. So flat earthers, for those who don't know, they believe that the earth is flat. They're pretty kooky. They're not as malicious as I think other conspiracies are, and I'm a big conspiracy nut. I don't necessarily believe in all of these conspiracies. I think the whole conspiracy umbrella term is odd because there's conspiracies that are true, that are still considered conspiracies. A lot of our presidential figures have racist past. Reagan was caught making fun of African countries, calling them monkeys. That's not a conspiracy. That's the truth. It was literally recorded, but people still to this day combat it and say it's not true. So I don't even like the conspiracy title, and I really respect conspiracy theorists because I do believe they have a good soul and they're really trying to find the truth. And I think that's why I really appreciate flat earthers, because as crazy as they are, I like that they're non-malicious. It's a group unlike anti-vaxxers, where they're really trying to harm people. I mean, the anti-vax movement brought back, I think it was smallpox. I think it was eradicated, and it came back a few years ago because of the anti-vax movement. And I think there's a resurgence of another plague that's because of the anti-vax movement. So I always looked at flat earthers like, hey, you know what? They're doing their own thing. They're not really bothering people. And a lot of their arguments are pretty enticing. Unlike smallpox or like the vax movement, it's hard to prove this space existence, in this dome that we live in, that they propose, that we live in like this dome and there's no such thing as space or something like that. It's hard to capture what every one of them believes. We just know that they don't believe the earth is round. That's like the standard. If you were to ask 5 different flat earthers, they'd give you their own hypothesis of what a flat earth even is. And so that's why it's hard to even follow what they're even saying and what they even believe in. Mark Rober, I think his name is Mark Rover. He's a big conspiracy theorist who got me into it all. I'm not a flat earther. I'm pretty sane, but I do love watching them do debates, because there's these scientific motherfuckers who come in and start debating with them. Meanwhile, these guys come at it, and I do respect it. Like, if you were to debate an anti-vaxxer, like, I've seen this in different platforms, but anti-vaxxers debating with non-anti-vaxxers, right? Or I guess pro-vaxxers. It's like really vile and it's really messed up, and they'll start doing ad hominems. They're like, you're a fucking bitch. And flat earthers, though, they're like, no, this is why I believe this. So I really do respect this group as like humans. I want to educate them. I want to teach them. I'm obviously not an astrophysicist. I'm a fucking fine arts major. I'm literally regurgitating what scientists before me have said. I say before me. See, the implication is I'm a scientist, guys. Ha ha ha. But you watch these debates. I was watching one from Jubilee where they had 3 three flat earthers and 3 scientists from different fields. I believe one of them was a physicist. I believe one of them was an astro guy or something. I don't know. But they've all basically debated, and it's really one-sided, but they're so compelling and confident. They bring up these like pretty good talking points from the surface level that sounds like, oh, like the most moderate average American, and I would say average everyone, but from my perspective, average Americans hear this and go, oh, that's pretty compelling. I'm not saying that because I fell for it, but because I know people who have. I know a handful of people who fell for these arguments. I know someone personally who would be, I swear I saw this video of this debate of them saying, the flat earther said, hey, look, there's this picture, it's fake. Look at this lunar landing that Buzz Aldrin did, right, when they landed on the moon. Look, who took this camera, or like who took this photo? Like these arguments, those are like one of those big arguments about like landing on the moon. They don't believe landing on the moon. And then, no joke, 2 days later, I think I heard one of my old good colleagues say that to me straight face, like, if you think it's real, this photo is fake. This is an article from NASA saying that it's fake. And at surface level you go, wow, it really is fake. Like, I guess NASA did lie. But there's so much nuancy, and there's so much compelling arguments. And I'm not here to list everything, but I think in those cases of this photo's fake, I think the argument was NASA never claimed to make those real. Like, those were just constructed and developed by NASA artists, but then no one ever claimed they were real except for these images, and they provided images that are real and they are pretty hard to combat, but they just steamrolled past it and move on to the next thing. And of course there's arguments where there's a debate I just saw where this guy, he's really smart, Professor Dave I think his name is, and he goes into arguments where I'm just like, huh. But the guy is a physicist. Like, you can't argue against him. Yet this flat earther is bringing up points, and he thinks he got some. There's a argument where he's like, oh, you believe the moon is round, but look at this little optical trick I show you where circular objects look like they're round, but if you flip them, they're flat. And the guy goes, yeah, that's a cool little trick you have, but this is a giant celestial being that we've monitored, and it rotates. Like, this is an optical illusion. We can test this. We can look at it at different angles on different days and see that there's rotation. It's stuff like that where you start looking and unraveling the flat earther, craziness of it all. And that's why I really love it, because it's such an easy thing to combat. And it's also funny just to hear us mere mortals try to combat this when there's people who've been to space. And it's also understandable why people fall into it, because it's not like we all can go to space. We really have to trust another person. But it just goes to the main arguments of, there's these professionals who study this. There's a mechanic who will tell you the ins and outs of your car, and it'd be foolish for you to go up to him and say that's actually wrong when they're most likely right. Like, it's a betting game. Like, I'm gonna obviously believe the guy who works on cars. So it's who you trust. It's how you gather your information, and ultimately there's deconstructions of these methods and movements that are pretty straightforward. I mean, like, sunsets are pretty odd in the flat earth community. You kind of sit there and go, how does this work? Or how do you fly to one place or other? And they have these kind of crackpot theories. I recall one of the interviews, they were saying like, oh, it's because so-and-so's in on this and so-and-so's in on this. And there was like a list of these people who were in on it to make one of these arguments stand true. And it's like, well, it makes more sense that you have all of these government agencies who can't stand each other, who are at war with each other, or that, hey, this scientist who made a mathematical equation that he can, practice was just right with the math. Like, it just, you eventually start going, how much of this is too outlandish, and Occam's razor kicks in, and you go, what's the most easiest answer, right? What's the simplest answer is probably the right one. So yeah, that's my video today. I'll let you all be and have a great day. Again, I'm gonna keep trying to post. My goal is to post every day, but every other day sounds more reasonable for myself. So yeah, I'm gonna be playing a bunch of different games, just talking, and end goal is to have a big video at the end of every month, but we'll see if we get there, because I've been writing 5 different videos and I keep getting sidetracked with each one. But yeah, have a good one. Goodbye.